So to put it in a nutshell and to give you a very direct answer, I do not see any intention on the side of Putin to cut any kind of peace deal with Ukraine. And these ongoing so-called talks, it's a sham talks, it's a sham consultations, have the very idea just to drag its feet and to outweigh and to outlast us.
First this hour, it will be 4 years since Vladimir Putin launched his full-scale invasion of Ukraine by Russia on February the 24th, 2022. Since then, there's been 4 years of brutal warfare, with hundreds of thousands thought to have been killed on both sides. And peace, in spite of the efforts and rhetoric and talks led by President Trump, does seem to be a long way away. We're joined now by Arseniy Yatsenyuk, who was the Prime Minister of Ukraine from 2014, when Russia first started its operations in the Donbass, until 2016. Hello to you.
Morning, Adam. Thanks for having me.
Can I ask you very simply, and I know obviously you can't reveal any secrets, but what is your assessment of the state of the war? Is anyone winning?
You know, the best way to assess what's happening on the ground is just to look what happened today at night. It's been a long night. So 50 cruise and ballistic missiles, 300 drones, and in the last week, Putin launched around 100 both ballistic and cruise missiles against Ukraine, and 1,400 drones and 1,700 of loitering munitions. So there is no any sign that suspected war criminal Putin is ready to cut any kind of deal with Ukraine. Even more, you mentioned that we're going to commemorate 4 years of the all-out war, but let me remind you, and you actually mentioned this, that the war actually started 12 years ago on the 20th of February 2014. Putin launched an invasion and occupied Crimea and the east of Ukraine. So this war has been dragging on for 12 years. And you know, Adam, my foundation and Kyiv Security Forum that I chair, we presented the numbers. What were the real military expenditures of Ukraine, Russia, Ukraine and its allies during these 12 years? And numbers are staggering. So Russians spent around $800 billion in the last 12 years to prosecute the war against Ukraine. Ukraine and its allies spent $450 billion. So the gap is a huge one, around $350 billion. The reason why I'm telling you this is that look at the state budget of Russia for this year. He hasn't decreased the military expenditures. Around 40% of the Russian budget goes to finance his war chest. So to put it in a nutshell and to give you a very direct answer, I do not see any intention on the side of Putin to cut any kind of peace deal with Ukraine. And these ongoing so-called talks, it's a sham talks, it's a sham consultations, have the very idea just to drag its feet and to outweigh and to outlast us. That's not just my assumption. The good thing is that I just came back from Munich Security Conference, and at least the miracle happened. We are practically on the same page with the entire both intelligence and military community of our allies.
But the question, sadly perhaps, is whether Ukraine can continue to sustain that level of attack which you've just described, which is on the civilian population and on civilian infrastructure, and also on the front line where, according to a report from our former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, the vast bulk of people being killed are now being killed on the Ukrainian side, are now being killed by drones. Also, there are reports of incremental territorial advances by the Russians. I mean, is Ukraine in a position to go on fighting?
There is no plan B and there is no any kind of other case scenario rather than to fight and to prevail in this war. The ultimate goal of Putin is to take over an entire Ukraine and actually to annihilate Ukraine as a sovereign and independent nation. And he is very vocal about this. I was slightly astonished with the latest interview of the special envoy Vitkov when he said that Putin is straight with him. Oh gosh, so I met Putin face to face. Putin is never straight. Putin is a professional KGB liar. He's always lying through his teeth. So he's a perfect deceptioner. And the thing is that there is a profound and huge, I would say, misunderstanding by Special Envoy Vitkov who Putin is really about. So I remember that there are a number of Western politicians who realized who is Putin really, is that he is a KGB operative and he's obsessed with an idea how to annihilate Ukraine. So giving you a very direct answer to the question that you've raised. So there is no other option for us, whether we can sustain, whether we can win. Yes, sir, we can. And this is the very reason why we need a very strong support and staunch support of everyone, including UK. And I really commend the people of the United Kingdom who really stand by the Ukrainian people. The problem is the US administration. So we still have Americans in the game, but the thing is that the US support declined by 99% last year. So fingers crossed, maybe things will change, and President of the US is to realize that, look, there is only one way to talk to Putin. This is the language of strength. And you know, Adam, today we actually are celebrating the 80 years of this landmark John Cannon long telegram. You know this telegram, right?
Yeah, tell us more.
This is the U.S. diplomat who was stationed in Moscow.
Oh, this is the X-telegram, a long time ago. Yeah.
Right. 80 years ago, right. And he sent the telegram to D.C. when he actually explained to his fellow Americans what really Soviets are about. And nothing has changed except the names and dates. So he mentioned Stalin. Instead of Stalin, we have Putin. But the essence of Russia is completely the same. So I wish the U.S. administration is to dig into this telegram to realize that nothing has changed. And if Trump wants to get the Nobel Peace Prize, there is only one way.
I think we should say that at the time that George Kennan wrote that, Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union as well. So obviously there have been changes. I mean, I just wonder finally whether President Zelensky maybe is under in such intense pressure that he's giving way to the Americans. What about this idea that he seems to have floated of having elections in Ukraine as early as May?
Look. There is no way, Adam, there is no way to hold free and fair elections. And the only reason why President Zelensky has mentioned this election is that he wants to press the US administration to exert the maximum pressure on Russia, at least to announce a ceasefire. This is the very reason. And if we get the ceasefire, a durable ceasefire, that's not an issue for the Ukrainian people to go and to cast the ballots and to elect the president and the House and the rest of the stuff. But that's not on the radars right now. Russians are playing this game due to the thing that they are conducting KGB special operation. They believe that they can embroil Ukraine in some kind of domestic infight due to the elections. Let me put it once again. The Ukrainian president is a legitimate one. If we get a durable and long-lasting ceasefire, no doubt that Ukrainians will cast its ballots, and we are a vibrant democracy, and we will elect both the president and the House and everyone who has to be elected. But that's not an issue right now. The issue is how to get durable and long-lasting and fair peace. That's the thing.
Arseniy Yatsenyuk, thank you very much indeed. It's good to speak to you again. Well, let's now speak to Eduard Fesko. He is currently Ukraine's Deputy Head of Mission, effectively Deputy Ambassador in the UK. Hello to you.
Good morning.
We've just heard from Mr. Yatsenyuk about the level of support you're getting from the UK. But we've also heard today from former Prime Minister Boris Johnson saying the UK should be deploying non-combat troops to Ukraine now. What do you make of that suggestion?
I would say that what Mr. Johnson has said has a lot of merit, in a sense that he is proposing a more forward-looking action for our allies to take, because if you reflect on what has been happening throughout all these years, it is a picture of our friends, of our partners, usually reacting to what is happening to them, to Ukraine, instead of shaping the situation, instead of making things happen for them. So I think this is a very interesting proposal that is very much worth considering in terms of what can be done proactively to make Putin rethink his way of behavior right now.
I mean, what would non-combat forces do in Ukraine?
Well, there are many things, I guess, that they can be tasked with. First of all, apparently logistics. Why not? Or protection of certain sensitive installations. So, as you know, people in uniform do not only do fighting on the front line. There are many other tasks that they can be doing. And why not start doing them right now? Not waiting till the ceasefire is agreed or not agreed, because that's not a done deal yet.
Is Ukraine getting all the support which it needs from the UK compared with other states?
Well, I can say that from the UK, we have been getting all the support that the UK is able to provide. You know very well the state of the armed forces in terms of what is available in the warehouses, etc. But the UK has been the most consistent amongst our allies. So we have been working with them from day one, and we continue working with them.
What about Ukrainians in exile? You deal with that at the embassy. How many people have we now got in the UK still from Ukraine?
Well, we do not like to call them people in exile. We would like to refer them as temporarily displaced Ukrainian citizens who will be eventually coming back to Ukraine. And as of now, we estimate there are over 250,000 Ukrainians who have found shelter in the UK. So it's a big number. It's a considerable number.
There were concerns that their status in this country would change and they might have to leave. Is that happening?
I believe it was last year when the government has announced that once the current extension for those Ukrainians who have protection expires, which I think would be coming the first one, expirations, I mean, later this year around fall, around September, there will be another round of extension.
So you think people will get an extension? They won't be forced to.
Yeah. Yep. There was an announcement from the government last year, so definitely.
What about people of military age coming out of Ukraine to avoid being drafted?
Well, we have procedures in Ukraine in terms of who has to be on the register, and if some persons are not on that register, they will have to update their data. And those who are coming, those who are of the lower than 25 years old, that they are leaving Ukraine for whatever reason, that's their right to do so. But of course, this is something that our authorities are looking at.
Just finally, just had a message in from someone called David who says, haven't we had enough of this pro-Ukrainian propaganda? Do you feel that public sympathy for Ukraine and against Russia is waning in this country, the United Kingdom, or not?
I would not say so. What I would do rather is to strongly push back against using the word of pro-Ukrainian propaganda, because propaganda is something manipulative, and what you are telling is the truth. It's not propaganda. It's just educating and telling how things are. Instead of propaganda, by its very nature, is a manipulative approach.
Good point. Eduard Fesko, thank you very much indeed for joining us.